Okay, so what happens when the government itself breaks the rules? Who makes the final call? Well, today we're cracking open the Constitution's official rulebook to meet the ultimate referee, Article 3. Let's jump in.
Seriously, picture a huge basketball game with no ref. It would be total chaos, right? Now think about the government like that. What happens if Congress passes a law that's totally out of bounds? Or the president makes a move they're not supposed to? Who's going to blow the whistle and call the foul?
Well, the answer is built right into the Constitution, in Article 3. This is what creates the Judicial Branch, which is led by the Supreme Court. You can think of them as the official referees of our government. Their whole job is to make sure everybody is playing by the rules.
Now, for a ref to be any good, they have to be fair, right? They can't be worried about making one team or the other angry. So, how does the Constitution make sure our judicial refs can stay impartial and just call the game as they see it?
Well, think about this difference. Politicians, like the president or members of Congress, they're always thinking about the next election. You know, their bosses are the voters. But federal judges? Nope. They're appointed for life. Their one and only boss is the Constitution. And that freedom, right there, is the secret to a fair game.
And here it is, the exact line from Article 3 that makes this all possible. During good behavior. That's really just a fancy, old-school way of saying you've got this job for life, as long as you don't commit a serious crime, of course. So why give them a permanent, unfireable job? It's actually pretty simple. It's so they can make the right call, the tough call, based on the law, not on what's popular or what's going to get them reelected. This whole setup is designed to keep the game fair for all of us.
Okay, so we've got our refs, and we know they're supposed to be impartial. But who decides which ref gets which game? I mean, not every court can handle every single case. And this brings us to a really important idea called jurisdiction.
Jurisdiction sounds like a complicated legal term, but it's not. It just means a court's official power to hear a case. It basically answers one simple question. Does this court even have the authority to make a decision here?
The easiest way to think about it is like a sports league. See, most cases, they start out in the minor leagues, the lower courts. If one side loses, they can appeal the call and try to move their case up to the major leagues. That's what we call appellate jurisdiction. But Article 3 also says that a few, super important, really rare cases, like a major fight between two states, get to start and end in the big leagues, the Supreme Court, and that's called original jurisdiction.
All right, we're on our final topic, and this one is a huge deal. The Constitution lays out all the rules for the government, but it actually defines only one specific crime. This is the ultimate foul you can commit against the entire country.
And that crime is treason. This was considered so incredibly serious that the founders wrote the definition right into Article 3. They wanted to make absolutely sure that no one could just throw that charge around to get rid of their political enemies.
And they were super specific about what counts. According to the Constitution, treason is only one of two things: either actually starting a war against the U.S. or actively helping its enemies. That's it. Notice what's not on the list? Just criticizing the government. That's not treason, and they put that in writing to protect our freedom of speech.
And on top of that, they made it incredibly difficult to prove. To convict someone of treason, the government needs either two separate people to testify that they saw the exact same act, or the person has to confess in a public courtroom. The founders did this on purpose. They wanted to make it almost impossible for the government to use a treason charge as a weapon.
So, let's wrap this all up. Why does Article 3 matter to you? Well, it's pretty huge. It creates a fair referee for our whole system of government. It protects those refs from political pressure by giving them a job for life. It's a key piece of our system of checks and balances. And it very carefully defines the most serious crime against the nation to protect all of us from a government that could get too powerful. So that's the quick and dirty on Article 3. It sets up the Supreme Court as the ultimate referee, with the final say on the rules. But that leaves us with one last really big question to think about. If the referee has the final say, who's watching the ref?